So I just did a live stream and I'm sure there was a lot of maybe, I don't know, questions or something, and I missed quite a few. So I just thought I'd do one more quick live stream questions, answers. So sometimes I'll just start talking about stuff and I won't really look over in the comments at all. And then comments get lost or I don't see them or I don't know. So I just thought I'd do one more questions and answers. Okay, what is your concept of an afterlife? Um, I think that we are conscious, our awareness, it all comes from the same place. So wherever our conscious and awareness was before, we actually came to a point of our physical beings is where we will return to, which is the greater consciousness or pool of awareness. So you might have, let's say, a cloud full of water, but then it comes down as raindrops, and that's like individuals. So we just evaporate back up into the greater consciousness of awareness. And then do we ever come back down as one individual is the question. I myself would rather evolve to a better place because I feel like I'm living a lot of times, most of the time, if not all the time, in a very dark place because there's so many problems that people have and so many just things that could be so much better. Like the world I would like to have, the world that I imagine would be like 1,000 times better than this. And there's no reason why this existence or reality can't be 1,000 times better, but it just isn't. So, I mean, there are things that are beyond our capabilities. Like you can't, like for example, you can't just like make it always perfect outside. We've got hurricanes, we've got tornadoes, we've got storms, we've got cold ice ages. Our weather throughout the history has fluctuated to ice ages, and it will again, and it always will. And we have volcanoes, and the earth is this dynamic thing that's constantly changing. And that's the only thing like that's always going to happen is constant change. So it's not like a stable thing where we can just live on like a paradise planet, is what I'm saying. So I think somewhere out there, there must be a paradise planet where everything's always perfect weather, no volcanoes, always stable, people more aware, more kind. I, for one, think that it's a human right to have food and shelter. And I think it's a horrific tragedy that there are, like right now, like homeless people living and sleeping on the streets in filth and disease. And yeah, it's just, we don't live in a perfect world. So I don't know. Hopefully there's one out there that's better. I can't believe that I have gotten to you. I don't know what you mean. Do dogs really go to heaven? I have no idea. I don't think they even have a soul. I think they're empty voids myself. See, people like to project their own feelings and ideas onto inanimate, is that how you say it? Inanimate objects, which is like a dog. I'm not saying like a dog, like if you hit it, it's not going to yelp and it doesn't feel pain. Maybe it does, maybe it don't. But there are some things dogs do that people mistake the wrong way. Like people think that when a dog wags its tail, it means it's happy. No, it don't. If you do the research like I have done, a dog wagging his tail has nothing to do with feelings of happiness or joy, okay? It doesn't even mean he's glad to see you. It's just a reaction that the tail does. It's just like when a fish flops, does it mean like it's joyful? No, okay? So for all we know, when a dog wags its tail, it's in pain. It's not a natural creature. A dog could not survive on its own. If anything, once dogs get like in packs and on their own, they become very, very deadly, dangerous animals because they don't really have a lot of fear of humans. So I dread the day if this civilization ever collapses because we are going to have tons of wild dogs roaming the streets and killing people. Okay. So I hate dogs. They're soulless. A dog, if it's hungry, it'll eat its master. If the master dies in the house and nobody knows, the dog will eat its master, okay, if it's hungry enough. So dogs are disgusting. I'm transgendered and looking to learn more about your wife. Oh, okay. How does someone contact you to use? I don't talk about that on here. It's getting late. It's getting late. Anyway, I'll just sit here for a little while. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here, but I just thought I'd give everyone a chance to ask questions because I'm sure there was a lot of people on here a little while ago and I didn't get to everyone's questions. I didn't even see a lot of them. Like, I don't sit here and just read every single one when I'm talking. When I'm talking, I'm not reading at the same time. Like, I can't do that. I have to just focus on like one thing at a time. So I'm not a multitasker at all. It's getting nice and cool out now. I'm glad there was no moths coming in here yet. Yeah, I have my own website, but I don't give it out here. Someone's message got rejected, just so you know that's not me. I didn't do that. I don't give out my website. It's just, like for business stuff. It's listed where I post ads. That's it. That's all I can say. You've been trying to use a service, so that's why I've searched. Yeah, I don't know. You'll just every city, every state, every county is different. You'll just have to Google, the name of your town or whatever, and then after that, Google the word escorts, and then all the sites that are popular in your area will come up, possibly, maybe. And then if they don't, you could always Google other areas, and then you'll see the sites come up in other areas. So I don't know exactly how Google works, but it's funny. It's weird how things are now. You could Google, like, for example, New York escorts, and then you'll get a bunch of sites come up, and then you could Google, like, Boston escorts, and a bunch of different sites will come up. Like, you know what I mean? Just for one small example. So every area is different. Can I have a user? No. That's ridiculous. I don't know what you're even talking about, username. No, sorry, not gonna do that. My website, I'm escort, but I don't like talking about that too much on here. It freaks me out too much to know or think that there's people on YouTube that are gonna, like, hunt me down and use my services. I get too freaked out about that. Unfortunately, you'll never be in my area. You never know. If they ever decriminalize sex work, I would be doing, like, tours all the time. Then I wouldn't be afraid then to tell people at all, like, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be in your town or city," and I'd let people know then, but not under the kind of, barbaric system I have to live in under criminalization. I'm terrified, especially on YouTube. I don't know who anyone here is. I do background checks on people before I see them. Ohio, I mean, no, Ohio. A sex worker got shot and killed in Ohio about 4 months ago. I guess she was working. I never worked on the streets, but she was working on the streets, and a guy, undercover cop, picked her up, and, he wanted to have sex with her, and I'm thinking that, something happened, he didn't wanna pay her, and she tried to get out of the car, and he had a gun, and he shot and killed her, and he was a cop. That's a true story, you can Google it. They actually closed down the Vice Department, and I forget what town it was in Ohio because of that incident. But I'm sure they still do go after sex workers. If it was decriminalized, I would probably go to Ohio. I don't know what city it would be, though. But this is like a big if. Like, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime real soon if it does. If anything, they're just gonna do the Nordic model, which is bullshit 'cause it's still criminalization. They still criminalize our clients then. And in that case, I don't know what I would do. Thanks. It's a tough business. Yeah, any work is a tough business. So, sex work would be like a dream job. Like, I absolutely loved, loved, loved doing sex work when I was in New Zealand, where it's totally decriminalized, in Australia too. Um, Even though in Australia there's some areas that are different than other areas, but New Zealand was the best. And I never felt, like, so free. I never felt such, like, a total, like, free human being in my life as then when I worked in New Zealand where it's fully decriminalized. So is the music business trust me? Uh, it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, I talked about that in one of my other videos. It's why there's no good real good music anymore because all the real artists, like, people out there that write their own lyrics and music, they're quite poor, and it's expensive to travel around and stay in hotels if you're just starting out and you don't have any money. So that's why I think we don't really have any real good, like, musicians, anymore. It's all corporate stuff now. Is your neighbor still parking in front of my driveway? I haven't seen him do it lately, so no. I have hundreds of songs play guitar and keyboard. Yeah, I hate the music now too. I'm sure somewhere out there must be some bands that are pretty good, but I doubt it, because the thing is, back when they had, like, the really, really good music, like, what I call British Invasion or, like, acid rock, back then, people, like, were heavily into acid back then, and nowadays, I don't think there's any good acid because they busted all those people that did acid, that made the acid for people, Not like I'm like an acid, person. I don't do acid. I'm just saying a lot of musicians that wrote really, really good music, they did do acid. I'm sure like the Beatles, they even talked about it, how they got into it heavily. It's just not the thing anymore. Yeah, us Brits still come out and decent rock bands, but far less than before. Yep. You used to love acid, okay. I've only done it once. I don't think I'd ever do it again now. Long time ago, once. I don't think it was creepy, but it just, didn't really do a whole lot for me, and I figure I'm just not a drug person anymore. I think back then, if I would've had opportunity to do it again, I might have, but no, never got another opportunity. I look so clean. Yeah, I am clean. It said high meat makes you feel high and good. Possibly. I'm not gonna do that though. I take probiotics, that's high enough for me. I'm high naturally anyway. I don't need to eat rotting meat to be high. I'm already high. No, I'm not full of toxins. Well, everyone is nowadays. I mean, everybody has plastics in their system, and pesticides. So I try to drink only reverse osmosis water. Hopefully that gets out all the chemicals. So I'm not sure if it really does a lot, all of them, but I'm sure it's better than not having reverse osmosis water. Wyoming, no. I mean, I would tour every single state and every single large city if it was decriminalized, no problem. I am terrified of police. So, it's not against the law to be a sex worker advocate. So, anyone can help sex workers. You just Google the name of your town or city, and you could Google sex worker organizations, sex worker rights organizations. Pretty much every major city has them, and they all have Twitter accounts, and it's easy to find sex worker organizations and sex workers in your local town or city because they're all on Twitter. We live in a hypocrisy. Yep. It's really like what I find completely like hypocritical is Trump's wife. She's a sex worker, okay? She's done like porn, she's done nudes with other women, she's done like nude modeling and porn. So that's a sex worker, okay? And do you for 1 second believe that she would have got involved with Trump if he wasn't loaded? Okay, no way. It's obvious that he was her sugar daddy. That's sex work, okay? The only thing that makes people think that like sugar dating and like escorting or prostitution is different. Everyone thinks that it's because they have a relationship. Well, I can tell you right now, if he hadn't have all that money, they would never would have had a fucking relationship. Okay, so that is completely hypocritical for Trump to be against sex workers and to sign the FOSTA SESTA bill, which actually harms sex workers. So yeah, of course, very hypocritical. Donald Trump. Okay, if you're Donald Trump, there's a dollar sign right down there, and yeah, go right ahead. Go ahead and donate to me if you're Donald Trump. I seriously, seriously doubt it. That would be no way. But if you do donate to me, I'll stand up and do a little dance for you. Can't see the tits because if you wanna see tits, you can Google on YouTube breast exam, and I'm sure you'll see them because YouTube will allow people to do, like, breast exams on here, but if I just wanna, like, get a little more comfortable or be a little more relaxed, then they would, like, give me a huge strike, or worse, they would take my channel down. So, sorry, I can't do that. I wish I could. If anyone feels generous tonight, the dollar sign's right down there, and that's where you would donate to my channel. I think I only need, like, maybe another $30, I think, and I'll have 100, and then once I have 100, then that's when they'll send me the money. So, that would be nice. Maybe I'd get happy and do a little dance. Because 'Cause I've made no money today, um, doing sex work. I haven't had any clients today. I did have some nice people donate to my last live stream, so that was great. More money than I made all day doing sex work. So sometimes people will, like, they'll call me and they want me to be like Domino's Pizza where, like, I'll just, like, all ready and dressed and just, like, ready to go now, like, they want me to come now, like, they don't even give me time, like, to get ready or anything. So that happened earlier. This guy wanted me to, like, be there, like, within the hour. There's no way I'm gonna, like, shower, get ready, get dressed, get my stuff together, get in the car, Google is out, like, there's just too many things that I have to do to get ready. Like, I have to know where I'm going. I have to know exact location and directions, and I have to Google all that stuff. And there's no way I'm going to do all that stuff and be ready and be there in an hour. So I lost my one and only client I would have had today. Now I'm missing comments now. I guess I got to scroll back up. I'm doing okay, thanks. How many clients a week? I would prefer to have clients every single day, but it doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes I don't have any clients for weeks. Like last week, 2 weeks, I went like 3 almost 3 weeks without one client. And I got so anxious and depressed and nervous and scared. This is how I support myself, okay? So, I finally had one client the other day and he was so nice. He could see how stressed out I was. And I told him how what a hard time I was having, and then he actually paid me for the whole hour, and we never even did anything. He just wanted to talk, and he talked about how his wife had a, stillborn, birth, and he cried, and that was my first client I ever had that cried because he was talking about what happened to his wife, how she gave birth to a dead child. So, very sad, and he was very understanding of me and my situation and what I was going through and how things were getting tough for me. How I wasn't making any money for 2.5 weeks, which is scary because again, this is the only support I have. I don't have any other ways. Like I don't have any kind of help from anybody. Nobody gives me money. I don't have family to give me money. The government don't give me money. I only have a little bit of money from YouTube, which is nothing. And I do sex work, and I do have some passive income, but it's not enough to live on. If I didn't do sex work, I'd be eating top ramen every night and not have any money to take care of myself. I wouldn't be able to buy supplements. I wouldn't even be able to afford makeup or creams for my face or nothing. Like I'd be starving to death. I have to do sex work in order to live a good enough life and have healthy, clean, organic food. That's the only way. I held him when he cried, and I told him I said something, I forget what I said, and, oh, because he said that I remember he said because it was very tragic for that, because they were like a planned thing where they were planning on having the child, and they were very excited about it, and because she gave birth and it was, like, dead, and, he said that it kinda did something to her mind, like, it made her I don't know, I didn't, like, get into the details of what it did to her, like, how traumatic it was for her, but I asked him a question, because I'd seen something like this before where women will give birth to a dead child, and it does something, and it makes them, like, totally nuts, and they'll do is they'll get, like, a doll and they'll have the doll and they'll think like the doll is like the baby and they'll like treat it like it's alive and they'll put it in a stroller and I said something about oh, what does she have like little baby dolls does she think that that's the child and he kind of laughed a little bit and he said no he said if she was that crazy I would have divorced her so I don't know or so he didn't say really say divorce. I don't I think it's something like, "If she was that crazy, then I wouldn't even be still be around," or something. I don't know what he said, but yeah. But then he kind of snapped out of it a little bit because, things can always be worse. That's how you have to look at life. No matter how bad things are, there's always gonna be somebody else out there that's having a harder time. So, because once you get past the point of no return or to a really, really bad place, then you're not aware, I guess. I don't even know. His wife may have been at church. I don't know. I didn't really ask him too much about it. I just I was there for, like, a little bit longer than an hour, and he actually gave me a tip too, so, yeah, he was like my I told him, I said, "You're my angel right now," 'cause, I came home and I had to go pay all these bills and stuff, so I just got all those paid today. So I got my electric bill paid, it paid for my electrical bill, it paid for my internet. I had a credit card bill, I had a bill for I bought a air purifier and that was like 240 bucks. So yeah, he paid for all that just sitting there for like an hour talking. That's all he wanted to do. 'Cause he could see that I was stressed out. And the funny thing is I almost didn't even go see him. Nope, there's nothing else I can do but sex work, that's it. Any job is not worth the pay, and not only that, I don't last at all in work, like, I've had regular low minimum wage jobs before, and I always, always get fired, and no, I would be completely miserable, and besides that, well, what I put on my resume for the past, like, 25, 30 years, sex worker? I don't think so. "Oh, what have you been doing in your life for the past 25, 30 years?" "Oh, let's see, I've been a nude model, a strip dancer, a escort," like, no, this is it. or body rub no, can't put any of that on a resume. Not in this reality. In the perfect world, sure, you could put all that stuff on a resume and the boss would look at you and say, "Wow, you've done all that, and now why do you wanna do this?" I mean, let's see, you used to make, 300, 400 an hour, and now what, you wanna make, what, 5, $6 an hour, $10 an hour? Like, why? They would be just, like, upfront with you, like, why would you wanna make $10 an hour when you can make 3 or $400? It doesn't make any sense, like, no. I would never want a minimum wage job. Now I'm missing comments. Recovery from the condition of what? What, when she gave when she had a stillborn child? Yeah, I don't know what happened to her. But he was a really nice client, and he said that next time he was in town that, he would call me. I hope he does, but I don't think he will. Because they're hobbyists, and hobbyists see sex workers as their hobby, and they like to see different ones. They don't normally just see the same one, or they usually won't see an like, even though we didn't do anything, he probably won't call me. I don't maybe hopefully he will, because he was very generous. You did oh, yeah, I did nude modeling before I did, sex work, before I did escorting, I did nude modeling. What is my view on firearms? I don't know. Nope, I never ever myself would ever give a client a refund. That's rude. That's like saying, if you go get a massage and it doesn't, like, feel good enough for you, you get a refund. No, you don't. The only time I ever had to give a refund is when I worked in a brothel, and the client complained that I didn't, like, fuck them long enough, and or something, or I think one time, like, this is, like, years ago, like, I worked in this brothel in Melbourne, Australia, and the client complained that I'd started my period back then, and he got a refund. So, a professional, I call them professional tricks. What they'll do is they know, like, the, policies of some brothels, and they'll go there and they'll find a reason to complain, or they know what they can complain about, so they can get a refund, and that's what they do sometimes. But clients should not get refunds unless nothing happens at all, like, you know, let's say the girl says, "Oh, I changed my mind. I don't wanna do anything, then yeah, a refund, but as soon as she takes all her clothes off and they start touching and doing activities, and no, they should not get refunds. That's not right. Because if everyone did that, then you couldn't do sex work because everybody'd be getting refunds all the time. You say it doesn't work that way. I think the only reason they gave him a refund is because he might have was gonna, like, threaten to turn me in because I was working there as a non-citizen, so they don't give work visas to sex workers even though it's legal or decriminalized in other places. No, it's not fully decriminalized in Canada, so I no, I don't wanna go there, and I don't like cold climates anyway. I wanna stay in the warmest climate possible. I'd love to move back to Hawaii. If they would decriminalize, I probably would. I would pay you $30, okay. No, I don't think I would accept that offer. I don't do things like cheap things like that. I'm sure you could probably find someone maybe, but probably be some streetwalker would do something like that for 30 bucks. If client had heart attack and died, would he get a refund? Nope. I don't even take a lot of these questions as even serious because sex work is just like any other work. It's like any other job. Nobody else, okay, does a service for somebody and then it is expected to give refunds, you know. Oh, I think I'll go to the dentist and get my teeth cleaned. Oh, and if I find a spot they missed, I'm gonna get a refund. No, it doesn't work that way. Oh, I'm gonna go get a haircut, and if it doesn't, if the hair is just a little bit off or something, I'm gonna get a refund. No, it doesn't usually work that way. Of course, who knows with hairdressing, it might be like that sometimes if they really mess up, but most of the time they don't give refunds. They'll just offer to do it over again or something. Nope, never worked in that place. Nope, never kissed a girl. If a client died, would you talk to his wife? Nope, nope. You have a hard time falling in love based on your work. No. kind of an odd question because would somebody who, oh, I don't know, works in a morgue, okay, and prepares dead bodies, would they have a hard time falling in love because they work in a morgue? No, your job has very, very, or it has nothing to do with your personal life. I mean, your work is your work, and your personal life is your personal life. Just because sex work is a little more personal than, oh, I don't know, your gynecologist looking up a vagina, just because sex work is a little more personal than that, not much more, doesn't mean that the two things, the personal side and the business side, doesn't mean that they can't be separated. So to think that a sex worker, just because they do sex work, that would interfere with their personal life, not really. Only on the maybe on the legal end of it would, because I would be terrified of somebody I care about being too involved with my work, because if I ever got caught, then they would get in trouble too. So I would be terrified of that happening. Where's the last place you would ever go? The last place on earth I would ever go would be these really, really scary countries. So there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few really, really scary countries where I would never go. There's quite a few. How do I pick one? There's quite a few. As if the US wasn't scary enough, but yeah, there's worse, I think. Possibly, yeah, North Korea is one. Now, I'd never go there. You have to like worship the the statues they have. Like you have to go there and acknowledge and worship them. And if you don't, they'll who knows what they do. Probably sell your body organs to China or something. Do clients ever have a what's that? Fusion. I don't know what that is. A man has a long dong. Does he pay extra? I wish. I wish I could charge guys extra if they have to travel. Because, see, I have to buy extra large condoms for some of my clients. Like, I have to always have those on hand, which are more expensive. You know, I have to buy those as a specialty item online. I wish I could charge guys extra. If it was ever decriminalized, I would have on my website, if you require an extra, extra large condom, please add, oh, I don't know, an extra $50 to the donation, please, to cover the extra cost of the large condom. Yeah. And the extra um, stretching of the vagina, because then I have to do even more Kegel exercises than I would with a guy with a smaller penis. And in case you don't know what Kegel exercises are, that's when you tighten and hold the walls of the vagina and then you release, and then you tighten and hold the walls of the vagina and then you release. That helps strengthen the pelvic floor, and it helps keep it tighter. So, yeah, I would charge more possibly, but that's kind of I don't know, it's kinda a little out there, but I don't know if I would or not. It just depends. I once had this client, his dick was so big that I could not even, like, get my see, I have a very small mouth, and it was so big, I could not even get it in my mouth at all, and I could barely get, like, a large condom even, like, halfway on it, and someone like that, you can't really charge him more. I felt bad for the guy, so I just ended up, like, doing, like, a hand job for him. This is, like, a long time ago. So someone like that, no, I don't think actually, I probably wouldn't charge more. 'Cause I just ended up doing a hand job. I'd probably have on my website, if you are, like, huge or something and I can't get, like, a huge, large condom on your penis, then I may just have to do a hand job because I have a really small mouth. That's probably something like that. If they but, if it was decriminalized, clients would probably be more upfront. They could just say stuff. They could just talk about stuff. Like, right now, you can't talk about anything. So in other words, if it was decriminalized, it would allow clients to say, "Hey, by the way, I'm really, really big. Are you okay with that?" And the girl would either say, "Nope, not interested," or they'd say, "Well, yeah, actually, I like having my vagina stretched out, and actually, I like being fist. Come on over." Or they'd say, someone like me would be like, well, I have a really small mouth, and actually, if it's too big, I might just have to do a hand job. Are you okay with that? And they'd be like, either they'd be like, "No, I want to find some girl that wants her vagina all stretched out because she likes to be fist, because that's how big my dick is." And I'd be like, "Okay, good luck, bye-bye." So it'd be like that if it was decriminalized. But right now, how it is you can't talk about anything because you can still be arrested, but you can't be convicted for something you don't talk about. And yeah, you don't want to be convicted. That's worse, like the very worst. Nobody wants a conviction. No, we're not going by the inch now. I was just joking. But I wasn't joking about how people could communicate better if it was decriminalized. So, yeah. I get, like, really, really, like, exhausted on here, especially if I keep getting, like, questions answered the same ones over and over. I'm starting to get kinda tired, so just so you know, I don't think I'm gonna be on here very much longer. I'm getting really tired now. This is exhausting for me. S I don't know what you're saying, 612. I don't know what that is. I'm joking to Kim, happy when you smile. Did I smile? What's the biggest lie someone told you? The biggest lie, I think, was that Santa Claus was real. That used to keep me up as a child. Like, I used to lay awake waiting for him. Like, I would be supposed to be sleeping, and I'd be, like, trying to keep my eyes open, going, "I wanna see him," and I can remember this, and this is, like, when I was really, really young, like, maybe 4 or 5. I would lay awake in bed, like, with my eyes, like, trying to keep my eyes open, like, wanting to see Santa Claus, and I never saw him, and that was probably the biggest lie. Any ideas for next vacation? No, not yet. Single. I'm just gonna go back up. I think I missed a bunch of stuff. Extra wear and tear. Nah, not really. I don't think having sex is wear and tear as long as you're doing your Kegel exercises, because sex is like a natural thing. But when you do unnatural things to your body, that is probably more wear and tear than a natural activity, which is sex. So, no, I disagree. If a man had a long day. Oh, you already read that one. I think I got all your questions. I probably need to go now. My mouth is getting dry and I need to get some more water and I need to get up and move around. I've been like sitting here and I'm gonna like pass out in a minute if I don't get up. All right. Take care.